Welcome to Gracefold Daily Reflection, January 13th, 2026. Herb Emoji Reflection. Faith and trusting God when life feels uncertain.
Faith. Faith is often spoken about as something steady and confident, but real faith is not always loud. Sometimes faith is quiet. Sometimes it feels fragile. Sometimes it barely feels like faith at all. If your faith feels small, tired, or unsure, you are not alone. You are still welcome here. Anchor Scripture. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11 verse 1. Part 1. Faith is not the absence of struggle. Many believe faith means life becomes easier, but faith does not remove struggle. It changes how we walk through it. Even the strongest believers experienced fear, doubt, and waiting. Faith is not proven by comfort, but by perseverance. Part 2. Faith is a choice repeated daily. Faith is rarely a single decision. It is choosing trust again and again and again. Some days, that choice feels light. Other days, it feels heavy. Both still count. Part 3. Small faith is still powerful. Jesus compared faith to a mustard seed, not to minimize it, but to reveal its potential. Small faith still moves hearts, still shapes lives, still invites God to work. Never underestimate quiet belief. Part 4. Faith and waiting walk together. Waiting is where faith is tested. Answers delay. Prayers feel unanswered. Yet waiting deepens trust. God often does His greatest work in the unseen moments. Part 5. Doubt does not disqualify faith. Faith and doubt often coexist. Questions do not cancel belief. Uncertainty does not equal failure. God welcomes honesty. Faith grows stronger when it survives questioning. Part 6. Faith is built in the ordinary. Faith is not reserved for miracles. It grows in routine, in consistency, in obedience. Everyday faith matters. Part 7. When faith feels weak faith still reaches God. God does not ask for perfection. He asks for presence. When faith feels fragile, lean on God's faithfulness. Part 8. Faith requires release. Faith invites surrender, releasing control, releasing certainty, releasing outcomes. Trust begins where control ends. Part 9. Faith shapes perspective before circumstances. Faith often changes you before it changes your situation. Peace grows first. Clarity follows later. God works from the inside out. Part 10. Faith is remembering who God is. Faith grows when we remember God's character. Faithful, present, unchanging. Even when circumstances shift, God remains constant. When faith feels fragile, lean on God's faithfulness. Trusting God when life feels uncertain. Life often asks us to trust people, to trust timing, to trust circumstances, and most of all, to trust God when nothing seems clear. If you've ever felt afraid to let go or unsure if God sees you, you are not alone. You are exactly where you need to be. Part 1. Why trust feels hard. Trust asks us to release what we hold tightly. Our plans, our expectations, our desire to make life predictable. Letting go is uncomfortable. It goes against instinct. It asks us to rely on something unseen. And yet, trust is the bridge to peace. Part 2. Trust is a choice, not a feeling. You may not feel ready. You may feel scared. Faith does not demand comfort. It demands action. Trust begins with a decision. I will lean on God, even when I don't feel it. Small choices of trust grow stronger over time. Part 3. Trust changes the heart first. Trust does not always change circumstances immediately. Often it changes perspective first. You begin to see life differently. You notice small blessings. You feel grace, even in struggle. Trust transforms you from the inside out. Part 4. When trust feels impossible, there will be times. When trust feels fragile. When fear rises. When doubt whispers. Lean into God anyway. Faithful love does not depend on your strength. It carries you even when trust feels weak. Part 5. God sees what you cannot. Trust reminds us that God's vision is bigger than ours. Even when we cannot understand the path, God sees the whole journey. Every step you take matters. Every small act of trust counts. Part 6. Trust and faith grow together. Patience and trust are partners. Rushing faith only creates anxiety. Waiting with trust creates endurance. Slow growth often produces the deepest roots.